Hi, welcome if you are new. So, this is going to be another Testimony Tuesday. And I'm going to say this now. I am very, I'm a little congested. I'm a little under the weather. I'm very tired. So, I do want to keep this on the shorter side tonight. So, this Testimony Tuesday, the topic theme, I guess, is delayed, not denied. So a lot of I feel like this is something you hear a lot of people talk about, especially when it comes to like religion, when it comes to God, certain things that we want. It's not that we never get them. It's just that we don't always get it in the timing that we want it. So another thing is always trusting God's timing for when things should happen. So with me, I remember I got on YouTube thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna be a YouTuber." And I had all these misconceptions about I guess the level of work and dedication, perseverance that it would have taken to be really successful on YouTube. I'm hearing noise. But yeah, so I definitely thought it would be a lot easier to just make it big on YouTube. So I would constantly pray and ask God that I would see increase in subscribers, increase in my views, just praying and asking for this to work out, for all the effort and energy that I'm putting into YouTube, making videos, editing the videos, really showing up on here and not seeing the fruits of my labor was sometimes very disheartening. It made me want to give up at times, but like I said, the the thing is you may not see things happen right away. It's also like my pastor always loved to use the metaphor. When you plant a seed, you do not see the fruits, right? You don't see the end product immediately. So a lot of times you're putting in all this work, you're putting in all this effort, you're asking God, and you're wondering why you're not getting it. It might not be your harvest season. It might be your season of putting in work, of planting seeds, but it's not you're not going to right away see the fruits of your labor. And that's what I really have come to realize. A lot of things with God is you need to have patience. And if you're someone who's not patient, I can honestly say, I always say, I patience is a virtue which I do not have, because I really do not like waiting. And I feel like over the years I always would pray and ask God to give me more patience. And to be honest, I was kind of crazy for asking for that, but knowing I'm an impatient person. Because I think when sometimes we ask God for things, we think we're gonna get it immediately. Like, no, I was asking for patience. So how is God going to give me patience without me having to wait for things, right? So it's kind of like very counterproductive how I was going about it. I thought I was just gonna instantly become a more patient human being. No, God is just gonna put me in a situation where I will need to exercise my patience to see the end product. Hi there. Hi. But yeah, so for me, I feel like one prayer that I prayed and I'm finally seeing it being manifested in my life was for success on here on YouTube. And I feel like I've been successful lately because one, I've incorporated God into my platform. I've always been a believer, but I've never always realized really talk about it on here. But I'm like, I need to be real. Like, it's part of who I am. Like, my religion is part of me. And that's also one of the things, like, when I really found my identity in Christ, it made me become a lot more confident. And it made me just not that I don't care, but I stopped worrying about what the world thought of me. I'm just like, you know what? Whose opinion of me do I care about the most? What God thinks of me. And I feel like those two things, like the confidence boost and just really tapping more into my faith, I've seen the way God is actually blessing me and pouring out onto me all the things that I wanted, or all the things that I've been like praying about, right? So it's not like I was never gonna get the success. It's just like I had to go through the process, because I also think sometimes the things we ask for, if we get it right away, we're going to forget about God. We're going to turn our backs on Him. And God knows that better than we know it ourselves. So sometimes He doesn't give you things right away because He wants you to still come to Him, to depend on Him. So, like, you can't just say, oh, God can't be real because I prayed for this and I never got it. It might not be your time to receive the thing that you're asking for. It doesn't mean God is never going to give it to you. Sometimes it is like you're never going to get it. It's a no from God because that's not His will for you. But sometimes it's just like, not yet. You're not ready for it yet. You haven't gone through some things in this life yet. You are not at like the level of maturity that you think you are, where you can handle the thing you're asking for. Again, I remember I took my permits test when I was 16, and then I took my first time taking my road test, and I failed. I failed my road test, guys, 4 times. And I think the first time I was the most upset. After that, I was like, you know what? If it's meant to be, it will be. And every time after I went to go take it, I would pray and I would ask God, if it's meant for me to get it, I will pass. If it's not, I won't. Because some, like, again, and I know myself, if I gotten my license at 16, I probably would be a way more reckless driver than I am, or when I first got my license, because I got my license at like 21, 22, which that seems like really old for some people, but like that's when I finally got it, because I took my road test 5 times and I passed on the fifth. But if I had passed any of the first 4 times, I probably might have got my license, be driving, do something crazy, very reckless. And then when you're younger, you're with your friends, you're hanging out, you're drinking, and you might not be as safe a driver as someone who's older, more mature. And I think, I don't know for sure, but I feel like that would have probably been the case with me. So God was protecting me and my life by not allowing me to get my license at a young age. So like, did I get my license eventually? Yes, I did. And for some reason, when I would pray that prayer, I'm like, God, if it's for me, it will happen, right? If it's not, I just felt so relieved, because I'm like, it's not even up to me anymore. It's in God's hands. So whatever happened when I go take this test, it's because, like, God is with me. Like, so if I failed, I was not ready yet to get my license. So a lot of times we are not at a level of maturity, whether like in the natural or like maybe even like spiritual maturity, sometimes when we're asking God for certain things, because God knows better than we. I've said it before, and it's obviously just the truth. God is God. He is all knowing. So if God is not giving you something in the time that you want it, or at all, it's because He knows He has either something better in store, or what you're asking for is not going to, how do I say it? It's not going to pan out the way you expect it. I see a comment here. Let me read it because I feel like I'm chatting. Recently, I realized. Oh, I don't know if this person's still on, but like, looks are not everything. Like, to be honest, looks is not everything, because some people can be very pretty on the outside, but they have a horrible heart or horrible mindset. So don't focus on the outward beauty. Yes, there are things you can do to enhance the way you look if you want. Like, I don't know if you're a girl or a boy, but you can change your hair, the way you dress, maybe. If you're a girl, you can put on some makeup, right? But that's really interesting. But yeah, like I was saying, for real, it's really sometimes in the process of waiting where our faith is being built, because the more and more you're waiting for something and you're trusting God and you're being faithful to God, still in that waiting process, God is seeing that you're faithful to Him and He's going to reward you for it. And when I tell you guys, I can really sit here and say, like, there's so many things that I remember, like, praying for, and like years later, like, it I finally realized, oh wait, this is something I prayed for, and I'm finally like receiving it. I'm finally seeing it happen. Like, one thing I remember praying for a lot when I was like younger was just like to have good discernment in terms of like my friends and the people who I keep in my life. And more and more lately, I'm like really just been distancing myself from people, because I just realized like these are not the people who are meant to be in my life. They're not helping me grow in any way, shape, or form. And you don't want to be around people like that. Like, it's just going to hold you back, and it's going to hinder you in the long run. Like I said, I prayed over my YouTube channel. I've been on YouTube for around 4 years, and the amount of growth I've seen in like this year alone, in 2024 alone, is crazy. Like, I haven't had that much growth in all of 23 last year. Like, the amount of new subscribers I'm having, the amount of engagement I'm getting. Like, even nowadays when I go on live, I'm actually, people are coming on, people are interacting, and I really thank you guys for showing up. I thank you guys for interacting with me, because this is something I want. Like, I want to be on YouTube. I want to have a community on here. And part of that is I want to be able to express and show my faith, because I don't know why I wasn't really talking a lot about my faith. Like, I feel like in some videos I will mention, that I'm a Christian, that I go to church, that I do really believe in the things in the Bible, and I try to like my very best, because once again, I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I mess up. I do try to live by, the standard that the Bible sets out for us. Do I mess up? Do I make mistakes? Of course. I'm human, just like anybody else. But I'm just trying my best, and I get back up and try to do better the next day. But I just really want anyone who thinks like, things are not going to work out for them, or you're praying for something, you're just not seeing it yet. Just one, I want you the next time, when you do pray, is to think, or speak to God and like ask Him, like, is this something that you are going to receive eventually, or is this God, or you're never going to receive it? Because some things, like, you pray for and you're just never going to get it. Like, I always say, the one prayer that I've prayed and God has never answered and never will answer is like, I've always, when I was younger, once again, younger, like high school, middle school, I would pray and ask God to make me taller, guys. Because I'm only 5 feet. I was like, God, if you can just give me like 2 more inches, 2 more inches in height, just make me like 5'2". Like, I really wanted average height like 5'4", but I'm like, even if you just make me 5'2", God, I will be happy. And like, I can sit and say that's so funny, right? But like, people do have prayers that they pray that they know, like, and God is just saying no, like, you're not gonna ever get that, like, it's just never gonna happen, and that's okay. And really, when you think about, at the time, I was not okay with that. I really wanted the height. It's not even like I'm saying it now because it's like funny, but really at the time when I was praying that prayer, I really and genuinely wanted to get taller. But that was not the case. That was just not the case for me. Um, like, and there's like other things I've prayed for that just like never happened, and I'm like, okay, like, even when I've dated people, I've prayed and asked God, I'm like, if this person is not right for me, Lord God, please remove them from my life. And God will swiftly remove those people from your life. Trust and believe. That's a prayer that God, I feel, answers really quickly, because some people are just not meant to be in your life, guys. So I told you guys, I'm not feeling good. I'm not gonna stay on much longer, but I'm just trying to tell you guys the seriousness in just like having patience. Like the Bible tells us, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, right? So by waiting on God, you're strengthening yourself, you're strengthening your faith, you're strengthening your belief in Him, and He is going to come through for us. Like really and truly, He's gonna come through, and that's what is the most important thing, is just remembering delayed is not denial. There are so many biblical stories I can mention that, like, you see this theme of delayed but not denial. You have it with Joseph when he told his brothers that they were going to bow down to him, and he's being risen above them basically. And what did they do? They sold him into slavery. They trapped him in a pit, threw him and sold him into slavery. But in the end, he did come out on top. He went to Egypt. Became like, I forgot what position he had, but it was like some really high position in the Pharaoh's house. Like, he was basically his right hand man. He had land and property and his own slave, like own like servants at one point. And then his family came, and he was able to help his family because there's a famine in their land. And in the end, his brothers did end up being subservient to him, like bowing down to him, because of the position of authority he was given, right? And again, he had the dream, and then this probably all happened, and I can't even tell you what he was probably thinking at the time. But it's just like, why would God give me a dream like that, and then the next thing I know, I'm a slave? But it took him a long time to get there, but still he ended up there. We also have the story of King David when he was anointed to be king, but it took him years to actually be seated on the throne, because because the king at the time wanted his son to take the throne from him, not give it to David, and he was persecuting him. But eventually, David did become king. Did it take years upon years upon years? Yes, it did. But in the end, he did get what God promised him. So because God might promise you something right now, might tell you a promise or reveal something that is going to happen in your life, He's not telling you how long it's taking. He's not telling you the timeline most of the time, right? He promised Abraham and Sarai a son. It took them a while to get that son. It took them a while. So delayed does not mean denied. That's all I really have to say, guys. That's really it. I'm not going to drag this out any longer, but I really hope someone got something from that. Like, it really is, it's really crazy the way God works sometimes, and we can't put him in a box and say he's always going to work like this. But it's shown time and time again that God will come through, and that he's not withholding what he promised from you without cause. There is a reason. There's a reason why you are waiting. And in your waiting season, ask God how he's preparing you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Like, I think I'm finally in a place where I am doing what God wants me to do, and it's also like something that's going to fulfill me as well. Because it's weird. I never wanted to go into the nursing field, but that's what I'm going into, and I think that's where God wanted me, because I've been running from it my whole life. But yet I ended up here, and I'm actually excited for it. But I really want anyone who's online just to continue to pray, continue to ask God for discernment, continue to ask God what is his will concerning your life, because we always pray and ask for what we want, but what we want for ourselves isn't always necessarily what God wants for us. So if you're praying prayers out of like out of your flesh, basically out of like what you're seeing the world doing, and you want to emulate the world and not spiritually, like you're not asking God for spiritual things, or you're not asking God what he wants for you, you're not going to get it. Like I can't sit here and ask God for something that's like, because I've seen someone else out in the world doing it, but it's not necessarily aligned with the principle of God. God's not going to give me that. That's just not, that's never going to happen. So and this is another thing that I've seen people who are in relationships, and in your relationship you're doing things that is not of God, and then you're trying to ask God to bless your relationship. Why would God bless your relationship when that relationship is not of God to begin with? Like we also need to keep that in mind. If we're doing things outside of God's will and asking God to bless it, he's not going to bless it. He's not going to bless it, because that's not what God stands for. So just continue to seek God's will for yourself, and um just continue to like pray about it. Really and like in everything, pray and ask God for wisdom and knowledge and discernment. That's really all I can say, because that's what been having to do lately, and the revelations I've been getting and just the conviction I've been feeling, guys. I've had to really do a lot of work on my own self, and it's hard. Trust me, I know it's so hard, but you got to do what you got to do, and if you believe in God, God will reward you for your faith. So that's really all I have for you guys. I really hope this video was helpful. If you guys are just interesting, because I just sit here and talk, really and truly, and this is all based off of like what I know, my knowledge. If anyone have any words of wisdom, any gems, you guys can always drop them in the chat, in the comment section. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I do want to make some more like long form videos where I talk a little bit more about my faith. um if anyone is interested in doing like a Bible study, let me know. I don't want to be the one running it though. I want, maybe I'll try and find someone who wants to do a Bible study with me and have them be like a moderator. Yo, y'all with my smoke detector, like leave me alone. Oh, I just heard it. I do need to change the batteries. Leave me alone, guys. But yeah, let me know down below. Like I feel like I would love to do a Bible study with like group. I need to be in a Bible study group again, because my church one is on pause currently for like the youths anyways. But as always, please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, and come back for the next Testimony Tuesday. I don't think I'm posting next Tuesday, maybe the following. So I'm going to try and do every other week, guys. And I'll see you guys. Bye.